matter how high-tech, highfalutin, lazy, or foo-foo America gets, we will never stop hunting and fishing. This is The Hunting Quest.
The Hunting Quest.
We take 1 hour of every week and talk about our favorite things in the world, hunting and fishing. You'll get tips and help on the fishing environment locally in the DMV area. Plus, we're going to have fun along the way. This is The Hunting Quest. And now your hosts, Mike Tippin and Mark Davis.
There we go. All right.
All right, so we're back in.
We're back. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty there.
I don't think anybody knew, though.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
all right, so it's episode 6.
Yeah, how's everybody doing? How
We're
you
good.
doing?
We're good. Everything's great. Made it through the week.
Yeah.
You know, ready for this. Been waiting all week. It's always the fun thing to do on Friday night to be out here.
I look forward to Podcast Fridays.
We got a pretty interesting podcast tonight. We're going to have a special guest on.
We are.
We'll bring-
I'm super excited about this special guest because for those of you, well, we won't tell you who he is just yet, but this guy is all about 100. I mean, he is 100 all the time. I mean, just there is no off switch for this guy. But
and the nice part too is we're gonna bring him in on phone. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today, live with us, which a lot of guys they can't actually. Make
but
it.
he's not here for a very particular reason.
But that's true too. We'll go over that.
We'll go over that a little bit too.
So it should be a fun podcast. Did you do anything interesting this week? Anything going on?
I'm going bow fishing tomorrow.
So I might go. I don't know. We're gonna have to play this.
It's a long day.
It's one of those things where if you don't have your day planned, and especially any kind of fishing trip too, especially when you go with a guide or somewhere where you're gonna go out for like 8 hours or something.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, did I plan my day? And if you didn't plan your day, it makes it sort of.
Yeah, and we got so much going on. This week wasn't bad. I mean, there's a lot of work, but it wasn't like strenuous. But we got so much going on this weekend. It's just, it's so much stuff, but I'm excited about it. It's all stuff that I really want to do. It's stuff that it's good weekend stuff, right? So trying to figure all that stuff out and schedule it and all, but I tell you, it doesn't matter. Somebody says, "Hey, you want to go bow fishing?" I'm going now. I'm all in, dude.
This time of the year it's a killer because a lot of the stuff that you want to get done.
Yeah.
You've kind of got to do it now because the seasons are going to start wrapping up, or they're going to start picking up.
Yeah.
Depends on really what you're getting into. So
Well,
it's
deer
sort
season's
of
right around the corner.
one of those things.
26 days.
You really want to do, and then and that's like hunting season's coming up, so the fishing starts to go. But then you do have all your fall fishing coming up, which is a big part of it too. So for us, we're talking to guys about getting feed plots ready, and
You got to get your ducks. You got to get your dates for your guide service for ducks. You've got to work out all of your what's your time off, where are you taking vacation? For me, I take vacation to go hunting, so you got to figure all that stuff out.
Well, and that's another thing too is that a lot of people are getting to the point too where the kids are going back to school.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming up, so
Yep.
they spend a lot of time on that, and like you said, that last minute trying to go, do vacation stuff and things of that nature, and fall can be a pretty busy time for everyone when it comes to just getting stuff done. So any opportunity to go out now, I'm hoping to maybe get a little more fishing time in before
My
we
fishing
get out.
season just kind of sucked this year, man. I can still save it, but for rod and reel, my fishing season just was not as spectacular as I was hoping for. It just not enough time in the day, and I regret that. But I got other things that I want to do. So
there's so many things that I want to do too, and that's kind of the killer too. But you get to do what you can, and you hope that you
But with my new addiction, the new bow fishing addiction, dude.
we'll talk about that. So how about this? Let's talk about what's going on down outside of Richmond. We'll say what's going on.
Oh, yeah. So right now they're having the Sportsman Virginia Sportsman and Outdoors show. It's this weekend. Started today, the 5th, 6th, and 7th. It goes through obviously Sunday. I don't know the specific hours of it, but you can go online and figure all that stuff out. And they moved. So they used to have it at Richmond at the Raceway, and they moved it this year to a new location. And it's from best I understand, it's out by Kings Dominion in that general area. I'll have to go look it up, but we can find out what the address is. But so the Sportsman, the Virginia Outdoor Sportsman show is phenomenal. They do, they got all kinds of all kind of guide services out there that are booking duck trips and safaris and all this other stuff. And one of our good friends, Ramrod, they're there, and I was talking with him today, and Travis is a good guy. He's down there. He's opening up the books for some other stuff, but I'll probably let him kind of discuss that whenever he wants to.
Well, that's what I was to say. So the reason I bring that up is that we are going to go ahead and talk to him today about bow fishing.
Bow fishing, absolutely.
So we're going to talk to him about bow fishing today.
Right.
We're going to have him. He's on the phone. So
right.
I have not been out with him yet. You have been.
Right.
From what I hear, he's one of the best rated guys out there right now. Everybody really seems to say good things
Dude,
about him.
you have no idea.
Listen, we were in Ocean City, hours and hours away especially from them, even farther away from them. And while we're there talking about bow fishing, his name gets brought up as, oh, who are you guys looking to go with? And from way far away, he's like the best guy to go with.
Oh, there's no question.
There's definitely a lot of people talking about him, and there's a lot of questions about bow fishing, and a lot of misconceptions and understand things. We're going to talk about some things, but we posted some pictures and got some gripe about things, and bow fishing's tricky and different.
By the way, none of it was his stuff.
So. Oh, absolutely not. Nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
We'll go into that more.
Yeah.
And even some of the equipment, like you talked about some things about bow fishing, we'll discuss it.
Oh, absolutely.
I wasn't even aware existed, especially more in this environment up here,
Absolutely.
up north, stuff that I thought was down south. So if you want to go ahead without further ado, if he's ready, you want to go ahead and introduce our
absolutely
our guest speaker today.
So first, let me tell everybody who's listening, the guy that's about to come on here, Travis, is he's the owner of Ramrod. I guess it's bow fishing, but I'll let him talk a little bit more about that. And I will tell you, you will not find a person that is more 100% all on and just a really amazing guy. So with that being said, Travis, welcome to the Hunting Quest podcast. Hopefully you can hear us.
I'm talking Mondoist of the Mondo introductions right there, Mike. Now, let me live up to it and let my speech impediment really kick in while I'm trying to get on a podcast. Here we go! Oh, Marky Mark, do the editing magic after this one's done.
Right. We're going to check the explicit box, right?
Oh, yeah, we're going to find that fine line right there in between checking that explicit box or not checking that explicit box. Here we go.
So tell us, first of all, thanks for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate you being here.
Pleasure's all mine, guys. Thank you so much.
And again, I talked a little bit about this last week for those of you who listened. And we discussed, I got the opportunity to go out with him and Lindsay and just had the best time on the planet and totally addicted going back this weekend. So tell us a little bit about, what you're doing down at the Sportsman Show, and tell us a little bit about Ramrod and how'd you get into this? What on earth started you down the idea of saying, hey, this bow fishing thing and is a real deal. And I guess I should probably tell everybody, I met Travis before you get into that. I met him through car waterfowl back in the day, and he was a guide there. So, but tell us a little bit of how'd you get into this? What got you started there?
So, the whole thing, I appreciate you. It's funny how when you think about things and you look back how far one can go, it's pretty amazing. I'm nothing but flattered, and it's all the community and the masses behind me. I'm just the face. They're the engine that runs this whole thing. So, the duck hunting, that was all just with my dad on the weekends. I wanted to go hunting with him and whatnot. And he will be the one to say he always knew I was going to be a guy. Because one of his hunting buddies, was like a part-time guide, and I just was fascinated by the whole duck hunting thing, and he could just tell, right? And, well, he nailed it on that one. I wish he would have been like, yeah, my boy's going to be the one to win the Mega Millions when it's over 200. Here we go. I'm like, that's the one. That's the ticket, Papa. Here we go. Yeah.
For For sure.
You know, and it was a part-time gig because I just wanted to be out there. And, you know, a lot will say, no, your dad lost all of his blinds with his buddies and that you were going to inherit. So you had to find a way to get hunting on the river. And the way you found out was to guide on the river.
Yeah. Now that's a whole, that's a whole thing in itself is, you know, the blinds. And I mean, there's like legitimate, like, you know, huge rivalries and people, you know, getting angry over, you know, blinds and who, you know, putting blinds up and floating blinds. And that's a whole nother thing. And we could probably get into that on a different call, but yeah, I had no idea what the blind thing was about. And I think you and I were kind of talking about it on the trip. That's crazy inheriting blinds and stuff.
It's unbelievable. You don't mess with a man's family. You don't mess with a man's ducks. You don't mess with a man's dog. You don't mess with, you know, certain things. You mess with a man's ducks and you got problems.
Yeah, especially in this area.
I've always said on that river, it's amazing what people will do, good or bad, over a duck. Now it's also over a snakehead too.
Yeah.
Pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of good, but there's also bad with it. I mean, that's, you know, the balance of the cosmos, right? And, you know, it's just watching things grow and progress. And then, you know, but you're always going to have oh man, what if it went this way back in the day, or, you know, but try not to turn that into regret, into fuel and inspiration, right?
For sure.
That's the influence. You know, and so this duck hunting thing, Mikey, you know, it was one of those deals where I've worked for a lot of the outfitters on the East Coast.
For sure.
And, you know, whether it's Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, I mean, dabbled elsewhere a little bit. Saskatchewan now, too, you know, but the COVID thing, you know, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Everybody knew it was going to kind of happen, right? And, like, so the bow fishing, all right, I met one of my best friends, Colin Laster, who's actually one of the co-owners of Vader Bows that I've been all excited about with the Mikey, and, you know, you've been checking out.
For sure.
They've been going viral on Facebook with the memes and stuff. It's hilarious. So Colin calls me up and he goes, dude, I just bought a bait fishing bait from a dude on the side of the road, $5,000 in a breakfast burrito. And I'm like, what? And he goes, swear to God, dude. Man, he looked down and he was like, it's good. I said, yeah, Jack, man. Oh, there's that box. And, you know, you got to check the box now. I just got the F-bomb. So he sells it. So he gives the guy $5,000 cash and a breakfast burrito of all things. And the guy sells his boat. Was he selling his bow fishing boat on the side of the road? Who knows? But the guy made the transaction happen. And Colin called me up and he goes, dude, you want to go tonight? And I'm like, that's very Colin Laster of you, bro. And he goes, do you want to go tonight? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go tonight. He got the bows, he got the lights, he got the generator, he doesn't have the burrito anymore. That's cool. He can go hungry. You know, he's got all of it, right? Trolling motor, filled it up with some gas, ready to go. All right. So he goes, where should we go? And I'm like, I used to duck hunt Hohig Bay when I was a kid with my dad, and that's ground zero here on the Potomac River. Let's go there. Now, I'm not going to say we lit the world on fire, but we felt like we lit the world on fire that night. It was a blast, and it was no looking back. Turned into boat ramrod because when the fishing was slow, we bounced movie quotes and WWF, NWO Attitude Era scenes back and forth, and I always begin them to try and say boat ramrod. Let's go, Super Troopers, right? So
that's actually where it came from.
That's awesome.
That's where it came. Like, dude, you know, whether it was Wayne's World, you know, Ace Ventura was a huge hit with the movie quotes, you know. Oh my God, a whole bunch of that. Just what are you going to do when the fishing's slow? You're going to have a good time, right?
Right.
And that is a key ingredient to what this is all about and why the formula works so well. And I'm so flattered everybody compliments me. And I'm just kind of like, I'm just rolling with the punches. What are you talking about?
Right.
Mama hated him. Ramrod didn't dominate. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Anyway, so
love it.
We we're really going around, the ramrod, it's a fun time. I'm like, wait a minute, I can do this like how I do with the ducks and the hunt and the guiding.
Right.
And so, you know, go and get my captain's license or whatnot, and it becomes ramrod bow fishing.
Right.
And it's been an absolute heck of a ride
Well,
a whirlwind. I can't look back. It's just, dude.
I can attest to that
so
for sure. And I mean, class operation, the boat is just absolutely amazing. I had, everything about it is a top notch hunt I mean,
I appreciate so
it's
much
so
on
cool.
That, and it's nice because, now it's at like 4 boats in the fleet with a 5th and 6th on the way next year, all captained up. Everything's just awesome. The guys are amazing at finding snakes. That's what everybody wants. The bow fishing, they're safe and they know how to make the right calls. Mother Nature's always going to beat us up.
Right.
There's always going to be haters, whether they're rod and reel guys or they're people living on the shore. But this sport is so amazing.
Yeah.
And people are so passionate about it that it's worth trying to protect and fight for. Because here's the main end all say all about it, Mark, is these people who are giving bow fishing a hard time, I promise you, I challenge you, come out and try it because you're going to fall in love with it. You're going to change your mind.
Well, let's discuss that a little bit. So we had talked a little bit before we got on the air, just to give him a little bit of heads up what I wanted to talk about, and we're getting into that, is that I think there's a lot of misconceptions and maybe lack of understanding a lot with bow fishing. We had posted some pictures of some things that had been caught bow fishing.
Easy for you to say.
And people were giving some negative feedback about it. Why would you kill something? You're not going to eat it, so on and so forth. And I can understand if that's what you think bow fishing is. If you think bow fishing is just this kill all blood sport, leave things as they are kind of game, then I could understand that thought. But I have been under the belief over the years that there's a lot more to it. We get a lot of especially with snakehead, we're getting a lot more media about invasive species. I don't think people understand about carp and catfish and all these things that are invasive or overly populated. And I mean, I just really wanted to get your whole opinion and words on that, being almost like an ambassador to this,
For sure.
to the fishing world of bow fishing.
It's
not this terrible blood sport that they make it out to seem.
Right.
I'd love to give a little bit of a rant about that. And hopefully I watch my P's and Q's, because there's all love back from the bow fishing community. We get a lot of hate, and that's cool, because everything does in life when you think about it. The bloodbath thing. Any sport, any hobby, any passion, any angle of life. If you're good at what you do, that's black and white. Yes and no, you're good at what you do. So, not everybody's that good at what they do, right? They want to work on it. They don't have time. This is just a side thing. The people who stack up pile picks night after night after night, they're very good at what they do. Is it about a blood sport? Absolutely not, because not everybody's out there doing that. Like you talk about the snakehead. A lot of people want to shoot some for the freezer, and they're good. Most people with the snakehead shoot them commercially to feed their family. Why would anybody want to take away from that?
Right.
There's charters. The charters that are out there, the ones that allow the clients to shoot and not shoot for them, they're not packing pounds of snakeheads and fish and slaughtering them. These guys come out, they hear about bow fishing, they see a cool video on YouTube or on the social medias, and they're like, we want to come out and shoot our shot with ramrod bow fishing or enter other charter names. And, they have a great time with it. And here's the other thing. A lot of them go out, buy their own boats, get their own equipment, and they go out there too. Whether some hate that or feel that's competition, I love it, because now I've got the Greg Navy. I have the Greg Army on Facebook. Now I got the Greg Navy. Like Mikey, you watch Mark. Mikey's gonna have his own boat rolling out. He's gonna be. I'd be like, "Are you kidding me? You got a boat fishing boat? Why can't we just go with Travis?" He's like, "He needs to be in the Greg Navy." Oh yeah! And so you watch. All right, here we go. Dual mounted current bidder boats. I'm talking Japan. It's so cool when you have that sound effect. Here we go. No, and so this whole bloodbath thing, it's not a bloodbath. If you're good at what you do, you're good at what you do.
Yeah.
But there's always a bad apple here and there. But 99% of the boat fishing community, brotherhood, family, loyalty, dependence,
for sure,
helping,
yeah,
community,
Well, you're
sharing.
at the end. You're a waterman.
These are words that you describe the boat fishing guys with. You know.
Yeah, you're a waterman at the heart of it all, right? I mean, you're and every waterman that I've ever met is probably one of the is certainly a salt of the earth type person, and they're protecting their income, their whatever their daily lives is. That's how they sustain their day to day, and that's important. And it's not just about that; it's a love and appreciation for what you're doing. And I can attest to it. It's hard. It's not. It's hard for me because I'm used to learning. I tried to shoot them like I was shooting a deer. I told you all about that. I tried to shoot them like I was shooting a deer. You can't do that. It's a reactive shot, but. The appreciation that I have for going out there, and number one, the amount of work that it takes to run an operation like Ramrod is amazing. I mean, you go on, the boat's clean. You've got, a great guide. You've got a great mate. You've got to get, you take your shots. You've got to teach people how to shoot a bow that have never shot a bow before. Then you've got to worry about, their safety, which, all in all isn't a real big deal of it, but all of those things go into play, and the amount of work that goes into that service. And I think that's probably one of the most underappreciated areas. It is a service. And sometimes people forget, like tipping people, right? When you have when you're the captain, you're making money, right? But your mate generally survives off of tips. So
yeah, that's what they're there for. That's tradition right there.
Yeah.
That's earning stripes.
But they earn it. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's not easy, so.
Yeah, I know people understand that. I've never been anywhere where I didn't tip a mate, and I've usually tipped a mate probably. I would much rather tip a mate more than I should. Than I'd rather be the one that be under.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times they look at me like, "Were you really supposed to give me that much money?" So at that point, I'm like, "Well, it was at least they'll remember me next time I come around."
Yeah.
That's where that comes into play. But
sorry, I kind of strayed off course there, but yeah.
No, you didn't. You were fine. No, so here's something that I think is really interesting. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm assuming that a big part, because we discussed a little bit, is the snakehead. Yeah. There's so much publicity with snakehead. There's so much talk about snakehead. It's in the news. It's in the media. Has it slowed down over the years? Yeah, but it still prevails every so often. You'll see it in there. Everyone knows what a snakehead is now. They understand it.
Sure.
And now I think the world is starting to believe the stories that I've been saying for the last 8 years since we caught the first one we ever caught, how delicious they are. It's a very, very, very good fish. It's a very good meat. It's a white meat. You wouldn't expect it when you gut it open. And I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, does that really drive the business? Do you think it would be as much as it was if it wasn't for the snakeheads?
What the snakehead has done for this area, people got to think outside the box and look at this from another angle, and it's one of those things, guys, where this snakehead is such a cash crop. Whether it's you want to eat, and believe me, it is one of the best eating fish you can have, and multiple different ways of cooking it. Unbelievable, right? And you don't have to be an amazing, Michelin star chef. You don't have to go all Gordon Ramsay on this. All right. You can just fry it up, crack open a cold beer, amazing, right? Or you can go all fancy. Now, so the snakehead, here's something that a lot of people don't realize. How fascinating and cool this fish is, right? And how amazing it is to eat, and the hunt for the bow fishermen, and the chase for the rod and reel fishermen, right? The bite, or the next catch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
With bow fishermen, you don't just do loops. You hunt them. And when it works, I've told Mikey 20 times on that bow fishing trip, all right? When it's right, and you see it all play out, and you're like, that is some of the most fun I've ever had. That's hunting and fishing at the same time. I want to do that.
Oh, it is.
I mean, it's all about it. And then the rod and reel, that explosion on top water, I don't care who you are, it'll change your life forever.
It will. Right? It will.
I've been a deep sea fisherman and a creek trout fisherman my whole life when it comes to, and I love live lining in the Chesapeake Bay. This bow fishing deal turned me on to this top water fishing deal just because, I got to try it, right?
Of course.
And they explode out of the water, and you're like, hold on now, what you got? Yeah, you set that hook.
Yep.
Oh, my God. First of all, it's really hard to count to 4 and then set the hook.
Oh, God, yes.
I'm jerking that back at 3.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm a full send that, and I'm going to have that half moon. I'm talking make that ugly stick stay back. All right. Everybody's like, wait a minute, that's not the right rod and reel for the setup. Oh my God, what about the approach? What test line is he using? Oh God. Anyway, so like the snakehead is such a cash crop. There's people who come to this area with their own boats to compete in tournaments, to rod and reel, to fish with guys, to rod and reel, to buy from the market, from the commercial fishermen that sell to the markets, that now sell to the people because they want to just buy it and eat it, to the bow fishing, with the charters, with the commercial fishing there. It is so many avenues. Now, when these people come and visit from out of state, they're staying at hotels, they're eating at our restaurants, they're buying our gas, they're sharing their money from their state to our wonderful state of Virginia.
Right.
There is nothing wrong with having more stuff like that going on.
Right.
We have a cash crop, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, and so the whole what they're doing and they're eating stuff out. All bow fishermen are protectors of the ecosystem, one waterway at a time.
Right. Right. And you're a big, you're a big proponent of that. I mean, that's your, I mean, every time I've heard you talk about it, it's like, look, it's not just about going out here having fun. You're doing something for the environment. You're doing something, from conservation efforts. So yeah, I agree with you.
Every little thing you do with the bow fishing deal is good for that ecosystem and that water. And you were saying something about watermen, earlier. Here's one thing a lot of people don't understand about watermen. For everybody that doesn't know, watermen do a lot of things out of respect. That's their main jig is respect. That's their main dig right there. All right. And here's the thing. People living on the water have no idea how much watermen go out of their way. And if they even thought of hinting towards not being as respectful as they are, the uproar out of something different. But nobody knows how much watermen do to be respectful for those people who live on the water.
For sure. For sure.
Or in general, right? And like the whole thing about the bow fishing, that's bro fishing for you. We're going to turn bow fishing into bro fishing. Why? Because it's the funnest thing anybody could ever do on a Friday, Saturday night outside on the water in a boat with the whole river bottom lit up. Yeah. And you can see a whole new world out there.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you get into what culling the herd for snakeheads do. There's a whole bunch of cash crop and good for the community and the area and the demographics that it does. Now, then you look at like catfish, all right? Maryland and Virginia stocked catfish in 1980 as a new sport fish for the masses to have fun. It blew up.
Yeah.
There's millions of catfish now. Yeah. Who's suffering right now? Crabber.
Right.
Crabbing.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Eating all the crabs? Blue cat.
Yeah. Invasive species.
Y'all like eating crabs? I do too. Let's go shoot some catfish. That sounds like a good old plan.
Well, aren't there even, I think it was either the flatheads out there now too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
David Rayner shot that, a trophy record flathead.
Yep.
With me 3 years ago. First ever, they did a huge thing, gave him a plaque, gave him all these honors and stuff. Awesome.
That was on your boat, right? He shot it with you, right?
Dude, that was a monsoon of a night, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that was one really age. You know what I mean? And he like stuck it faithfully. I was turning the boat. I'm like, easy, trying to get the phone out because I'm like, nobody's going to believe me. He barely stuck it and pulled off. The next 3 minutes felt like 30.
Oh,
and
boy.
We found it. We were literally right where it blew up with the dust cloud. Went right over it. A fish that size, you will see go away.
Right.
We're over it, looking at it. Now, mind you, when I first saw this fish coming from 10 o'clock to us, going parallel, every record fish Ramrod has been a part of, official, more unofficial, because that's bow fishing's young. It's the feeling it gives you. You have this haunted, very, very haunting feeling. And that's how you know it's something you need to weigh. And it's usually a record when it gives you that specific feeling, right?
For sure.
And so, like, we, now we fast forward, we're like looking at the cloud. I'm like, you got to be right here. And then deja vu. It comes back the same way.
Right.
And we're like, okay, so it is the zombie flathead. And like the look in its eyes, I'll never forget that. So now we have, David Raines has a bow in his hands. Greg has a bow in his hands. And I have a bow in my hand.
Right.
And we go up on this fish. I'm talking straight down a foot above him. And me and David stick him, and our arrows only go 3 inches in that fish's back.
Good Lord.
You want to talk about flexing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he's sitting there, and he's like thinking he's a turtle.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. We stick this fish, and then the deep sea fishing style of bow fishing started. And we chased him around, had 2 lines in him, 2 arrows in him, pretty good. His third Greg, or buddy, was trying to fling arrows, putting another one in him. I catch up to him. This is when I had the skiff in the troller, right. And he'd peel off 30 yards, 20 yards, and then he'd turn right. He'd keep on turning right. And so he only did it like another 9 times. I'm like, you know what? He's going to turn right. And so I'm holding the line. And as soon as he goes to turn right, I pull, and he goes top heavy and like rolls. And then then he starts flailing, and he gets all the grass wrapped up around him. And I looked at David, and I went, and I meant that right there. And he goes, oh, he meant that. And I'm like, it worked. And we creeped up on him, and his old fancy Greg, he put a third one in him, and I'm like, it's about dang time, Gregory. And we put a 4th one in him, and I grabbed the cap, and I'm like, and we get him up in there. And, man, let me tell you, David Raines was one of my very first clients.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ramrod bow fishing. And he goes, what's up with all these? Man, he goes, what's up with all these unofficial records? And he's like, man, I want a record. And I'm like, well, Greg, I can't promise you a record, but I can try. And,
right.
Now, 6, 7 years later from when that happened, it was like 3, 4 years ago, he shot his record fish. And I'm like, man, let me tell you, dude, it's sure, that's the cool thing about fishing. You can have some hard fishing. You can have some leave it at the door problems, and you don't, and you're upset. But when the fishing gets good, it fixes everything for that moment, right?
Right.
And
absolutely.
So awesome. Absolutely, brother, man.
So now
you're what I thought about.
No, you hit it. You hit it. I was going to ask you. I know how to get a hold of you. I know how. I found you through different folks, and obviously you made a name for yourself. And there's a ton of people who have reached out to me. They all want to make sure that you've got that they want to do some fishing with you. They want to make sure that they get some time in. But somebody told me that well, I know that you're a pretty badass duck hunter too. So any chance that you might be doing some guiding this year on ducks as well?
Oh, absolutely. We're excited here, getting things going with Ramrod waterfowl. I'm talking no blinds, no problem. We're going to put you on the app. We run layout boat hunts. We have a lot of canvasbacks, bluebills, redheads. They wrapped up huge. We'll go in there and get them right on that, put out 100 to 200 decoys. It's screaming windy out there. We're going to be back up in the Pintail Marsh. I have access one of the best guys I know on this planet that has my back with this Pintail Marsh. And in exchange, I built very nice refurbished blinds for him, and he's comfortable. He's got walkways to his blinds, and in return, I get to use some blinds to be able to get the Greg on the app. Being able to have that Pintail Marsh has helped me build my name or my reputation or my career,
right,
in unimaginable ways. The Virginia flyway, the East flyway, pintails are far and few between, and that's one of the main wall mounting birds that people want.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You ask anybody, 7 out of 10 guys are going to say pintail. All right. The other 3 guys are going to say something like a canvasback, right?
Wood duck, mallards.
But they all want a pintail. All right.
Boom.
And so.
No. Oh, sorry, Mark's making jokes over here. So.
Oh, no, man. Good, man. I love it, man. I love it. And like the whole thing about it is, I've been very blessed to be able to be a part of the very best of the best when I was on my road learning and growing. I viewed it as my college.
Right. Yeah.
My 2 mentors in this whole thing after my father, Jerry Decatur of Wide Water Waterfowl and Teddy Carr of now Carr's Waterfowl. It was outdoor action. Right.
Yep.
I owe everything to those 3 men right there. First, my father, absolutely. The good Lord through the cosmos is well above all them. Let's not forget that.
Sure.
Then my father, and then, these two mentors of mine. Whether I learned what to do or what not to do,
Right.
I wouldn't be the person I am today without that. Now, what has been even more amazing is, again, the community. My guides, my assistant guides, everybody around me is what has made this happen. I've just been lucky enough to be the kid that had a speech impediment growing up to be now known as the person that has the face and the talk.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
And so, what I had in mind when I was like, I'm going to go tripping was it's never about the hunting, never about the fishing, about safety. But I may not be able to control the spots I have or the areas I, hunt or fish or what happens any given Saturday night, Sunday morning, Friday, whatever, right? But I can control the energy and how fun it is.
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And
you do that well. You do that very well.
Yeah, well, whatever you've done, it's memorable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 100 miles. That's how I tell people. I'm like, if you're, even if you don't go out and hit a damn thing at all, I promise you will still have one hell of a good time.
Well, there's something to be said about being memorable.
Oh yeah.
So you can go out and fish with somebody all day long. That's great, and you had a great time, and you had a great trip. But if you can't describe them, remember who they were, you may never find them again.
Yeah.
Whereas the first thing that comes up is how, for lack of better words, how wild his trips are.
Oh, absolutely.
And everybody's always just so fun to be
absolutely.
with. I haven't been, obviously, but it's what we heard from, like I said, all the way in Ocean City. We're talking to a charter out there doing fishing, and he's telling us about this guy that does snakehead down there. So I think that's actually probably worked out, way more to your advantage than you ever would have thought it would have.
Oh yeah, and dealing with Lindsay. So Lindsay, I think, is like the brains behind all this. She's the responsible, the one that's organized, one that has my back and makes things really legally happen. Right. Because at the end of the day, I want to be legal and all that stuff, duh. But I need help. It takes a lot of what's going on, right? And what I thought was really cool, and hats off to her as well, was, I took Allie out, and Allie had never pulled a bow back. I mean, she'd shot, compound bow, or she'd shot crossbows, but she'd never shot a legit compound bow or anything like that. And, to have another female on the boat and being out there and being able to fish and show my wife how to kind of do that. And she's an absolutely cool individual as well. I mean, sweetheart of a lady. That was probably one of the most memorable things. I mean, my wife is pretty awesome and I love her to death, but she doesn't always like the people. Right. And, but her and Lindsay just kind of hit lockstep. And I mean, there was comfort level 100, and they sat out there and she shot. She had a great time. Me and Travis sat there and shot and talked shop and had a great time. It's an experience. 100%.
Well, it's one of those things where you don't see a lot of women.
No, never.
The industry in general with
Yeah.
all the outdoor sports stuff. There's plenty of women out there doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying there aren't, but there's not a lot. You know, Anna working in the store. There's not a lot of women working in stores.
Right.
A lot of women like to come talk to Anna. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
absolutely. It's a comfort level.
You know, there is the other side of it where a lot of people just. I don't want to talk to a woman about that. That's not me. It's not how I am.
Yeah.
You know, but you see, you know, she'll run into that from time to time. We should do a whole episode about that one day. But you know, it's
that would be awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's got some funny stories over there. I'm sure.
Yeah, I imagine putting her and Lindsay and everybody in the room together and let them talk over on a podcast about that. That'd be hysterical.
The gun store counters stories that Anna could tell you about people talking to you. Can I talk to your? Is that your father? Owns a store. She's like, I own the store. So you know, it's really funny when you look at that kind of stuff, and it's nice to see, you know, women in that environment.
Oh yeah,
in general.
Well, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, they'll have their girlfriends on the boat, and they're like, no, I'll just watch. And Lindsay, I love her. She's so amazing. She's so good at what she does because she's just being herself. That's the main thing. You go out with other charters or guides, and sometimes like it feels like they're trying to put on an act.
Yeah.
And you want to be. I tell all of my assistant guides, And now, as their guides, they already know because from the beginning, it's put on an act or you waste anybody's time, safety, or money, or treat them like a paycheck. I'm sorry that I'm asking a lot, but I'm asking what's right and what's proper.
Yeah.
Be yourself. You don't treat them like a paycheck. You don't put their time, safety, and money in question.
Yeah.
And that's it right there. You know, you add in some catchphrases and some gimmicks, and now you have Ramrod Go Fishing.
I love it. I love it. So,
no, but I mean, dude, you know, that was awesome seeing Ali and Valenciano just shooting me a shit. You know, we're sitting there trying to keep up with all the, you know, stories. You know, they're just throwing stories back and forth. We're like, how many are they
so
at?
cool.
18. We're only at 12. We got to catch up.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It was so cool. It was so cool. So is there any truth to the fact that you're going to do some ducks, though? You going to do ducks this year?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to guide.
It is going to be the third split. I'm not messing around with the first split or the second split. It's, you know, something where if something comes up, there's such a long waiting list that, you know, like I can't put that on the, you know, social media. There's a few guys who will get in. Anybody can get in on that list. It's just I want the people who have been, you know, booking hunts all the time, doing this and that, awesome people, this and that, and everybody is. But there's, you know, how lists go, man. You know, you got a list and a following. You've made it.
Yeah.
And so
well, you definitely have that. So
I appreciate you so much. I think there'll be like a couple September field goose hunts. Those will probably run like 8 to 10 shooters. You got to get in where you can fit in like Flynn so you can roll the dice and win big. Right? And that's just the way you do it. You know, those pile pits with September resident goose hunts, that's how they do it. They line them up. They beat the crap out of them. If it's a group of 40 birds, 30 better be dropping.
Right.
You know?
For sure.
So, and then, you know, the October deal, there's more room for blast and blast, I should say. Go fishing at night, duck hunting in the morning, whether it's day of or following morning or blah, 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 right? Now, November might be a little bit of that too, because now October and November, you're talking about snakeheads again, and everybody wants the Mondo dragons, my God. They want to be able to take back Valhalla in full send through the cosmos and slay the Mondo dragon. And I applaud them for it, because the energy when you get one of those suckers is unbelievable.
For sure.
But it's the duck hunting. It's always been about the third split here. Let's not be ridiculous. Let's not try to play games.
Right.
All right. It's all about when the birds migrate here. And so all day hunts, mix of pintail marsh and layout boats for divers. You can start in the marsh. You run with my guys. They'll cook your breakfast sandwiches and stuff. We're all known for it. We'll be bumping elbows with the layout boats. We're going to cycle in guys. If people want to stay in the pintail marsh all day, we're going to stay in the pintail marsh all day.
Right.
But it's going to be select numbers, limited, no private groups. Hashtag we are all Greg.
Right. That's
Somebody
awesome.
calls me wanting a private group. They've got other choices to go with. And it's not that their money isn't green. It's just that we are all Greg.
Yeah. Exclusive. Right. And, you know, it's nice to have that exclusivity. Right. And not overhunt an area or, you know, overbook an area. And I've been a part of that with other guides where they, you know, overbook stuff, and it's like, man, it just sucks. It's not fun, you know. So
yeah, you know, and you know, not everybody likes it when, you know, it's like, oh, you've got 300 of a specific type of birds in the marsh for the earlier part of the split, and that whole 300 birds comes in and gets within 40 yards, and everybody, oh, I'm paying the duck hunt, and I want to shoot that bird. Well, you shoot that bird and you bust them out and you teach them, and now, you know, the next 800 that show up are going to follow suit and this and that. Hashtag we are Greg. Okay? It's all going to be good. You know what I mean?
I got you.
And so I'm so happy and just excited for that. There's Wild Valley Outfitters. As soon as we can get things organized with all of our guys that want to go back up there and get things ready to rock and roll, the return we have, everybody is going to lose their mind when they see what we have cooking up in Saskatchewan, the motherland of duck hunting.
Right.
Beef hunting.
Absolutely.
That is the end all sale. And, you know, it's just one of those deals where like you know just as much as I do, duck hunting around here, it's a conveniency for DC, for the DMV. You know, it's in your backyard, right?
For sure.
You go up to Saskatchewan, that's a trip you want to do.
Yeah, that's a whole different ball game right there.
That's a bucket list hunt.
Yeah,
know?
for sure. And if it that is on the bucket list for the majority of major duck and goose hunters on the planet is, hunting Saskatchewan. But, Canada's got to kind of get their stuff squared away, not get into politics, but they got to kind of get it figured out so that they can open that back up.
I would love to do a really nice Canada trip. Go up, do some of that white sturgeon.
Yeah, you said that's your thing, man, for sure.
Yeah, I would love to get a sturgeon. But
you want a big one though. You want like a 14-footer.
I would like stand in the water with it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and the killer with that is it's so expensive. Right. You got to book a guide. They're not cheap up there. They're not running a lot of trips. Yeah, so they're cost you. You got to fly out there. Then you got to stay there, and you can't book the trip for a day.
Right.
Because if you don't catch one, you just waste the whole thing. So you got to be out there for like a week.
It's like elk hunting.
Oh, yeah, you got to do it a few days.
Yeah.
So cool. The thing that I wanted to bring up was you went into it kind of with duck hunting. So are you bow fishing all year, or do you stop at a certain time?
Once it gets to, halfway through November and whatnot, it's too brutal for some out there. December, January, and February, those are the 3 main months if I were to tell you there's no bow fishing going on. There are opportunities to go out there. If there were no ramrod waterfowl, or in the past, the other outfitters that I've had fortunate opportunity to be a part of, there probably would be year-round bow fishing for ramrod. A couple of my buddies do it here and there. They don't really beat them up too bad, but it's still something to do. That's the passion. That's how strong this passion is. They got people ice fishing in some parts of the country, and in different parts of the country, we're still turning on the light.
Let's go.
So, it's one of those deals where it brings Friday night lights to a whole nother ball game. I don't want to talk about where we don't play with balls, we play with bows and arrows. Here we go. So, but honestly, guys, it's one of those deals where not a lot of people know the benefits of having the bow fishing community out there. Like, you look at these rays. All right, people are upset about people shooting all these stingrays and stuff. First of all, Steve Irwin, period. Thank you very much. All right. Second of all right, you want to talk about...
I don't think Steve Irwin got killed by a cow-nosed ray.
By a cousin of a cow-nosed ray. You want to be specific? You want to be specific? I'll show you how to specifically shoot this ray and get it out of the water so it stops eating all the oysters out. Because the oystermen, they are getting buried alive out there because of these rays.
Yeah.
Shoot a ray, save an oyster. Because you like eating them in your Bloody Mary when you're sitting on the beach with the sand between your toes. All right? And while you're at it, book a trip with the guys that y'all know out there in Ocean City and shoot some dang rays. All right?
People don't realize how many cow-nosed rays come up the bay and into the Potomac.
Right.
It is incredible in the season, especially in the beginning of the summer, how many rays you see. I mean, they are everywhere.
Right. And you can eat them. I mean, people.
Yeah, so there's.
I didn't say that you'd like it. I said you could eat them.
No, and it goes back to the whole different.
We've had this conversation.
And skates and you want sometimes then we go to the bay scallops and the whiter meat. But I like the cow-nosed ray. You ever eat a cow-nosed ray?
I haven't.
Oh man, let me tell you, it's a poor man's scallop. It's all in how you cook it. What you need to do with the rays is you have to immediately get them on ice.
I've heard that.
Like my Captain Wiener over there, and a lead drill, Nick, he is so quick with it. As soon as the ray's shot, he brings it up, and if they want to keep it, it's 3 slices on each fin. Boom, 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 in the Yeti, and then the carcass in the cooler. If you, or not the cooler, the barrel. If you don't, they're like a shark. They piece through their skin.
Yeah.
So if they sit and you cut them open and they're deep green, tintish, you don't want to eat that.
Yeah, they got that giant, that people don't realize it's a big piece of cartilage through the wing, and you go down with a knife and you feel it and you slide it out.
Right.
It's a big hunk of meat. I mean, big hunk of meat. And then, it's like too, and you've probably got this from the snakehead fish. so much of that, because it's an air breather,
Right.
so much of that snakehead fish, it's kind of like a bow fin, where all the organs are in the front.
Yeah.
And then you go back and you don't have as many organs as you would think, and then you have that one air bladder.
Yeah.
But that
cut around
thing
that air
has
bladder and you're
two
done, yeah.
giant fillets if you do each side.
For sure.
I mean, just so much meat and that thing.
You realize
That's
we're
what's
going to catch so much hell for this conversation.
so
you
cool
know that,
about
right?
those. For what?
Skates.
So okay, so
Or
well,
rays and
skates.
stuff. I don't mind.
Skates a little different.
I don't
too.
mind. I don't
so
mind.
I have caught some rays in the past, and I
Okay.
have cut them up, and we have gone to cook them, and I have failed epically at it.
Right.
But I have. And I'm not a big catfish person. We talked about that before and all these kind of things. But I have had ray that was really good.
Right.
I have had ray that I tried to make that was not good at all. It
Right.
like it'll like move in the pan when you put. I don't know. Just didn't work out. That like it's been sitting for days. You put it there and it starts wiggling around.
Oh.
Because the tendons are so tight and long
Right.
in it. So yeah, that's not the best thing in the world. You know what I did want to talk about that Mike had told me, and I had not seen this, and I'm going to use the correct verbiage here. Pusher fan.
There you go.
Is that the correct verbiage? And I Googled it after he talked about it. I have never seen anybody use those. I think that's really interesting. And what is the big advantage to that versus like an electric trolling motor or something?
So you guys cut out there a little bit. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
Oh, are you there?
We're having some technical difficulties. All right.
Travis.
All right.
Sorry, I'm having a lot of technical difficulties out here at the show. All right, hit me with that question again.
Okay, so when Mike came back from fishing with you, he was talking to me about pusher fan. Okay, and I had never seen this on a boat.
Yes.
No idea what it was. Googled it. Was very, very interesting. And I was wondering if you could kind of go over a little bit what that is, what the difference is between that versus like a fan boat, and then what is really the advantage for that. I can think of some advantages, but what your take versus that using like an electric trolling motor.
So I love this because everybody hits me with it, and it's one of those reasons where I'm really proud to everybody's like, Bill Ramrod was the first one to bring a pusher fan over on this flyway and stuff and everything. Oh, brother, man. Hey, man, have a go, man. Brother. Thank you. So, bringing that over, we were thinking snakehead. All right. Lower unit in the water, whether it's a trolling motor or a kicker rig. A lot of people either use kicker rigs,
Okay.
little mini, 20 horsepower, and they'll roll around on that, or they'll use, trolling motors. Those are lovely because of the front point pivot turning. Maybe not so mindful for a tournament, pushing quickly, fast, all-nighter. But as far as snakehead for front point pivot turning, amazing. All right. When I chose to stick with the pusher fan because, we had the tournament boat and that was the pusher fan. And then I did the charter. I needed a bigger boat so I could have more grass.
Well, hey, hold on, really quick, Travis. We didn't explain what a push fan is.
You want to explain what a pusher fan is?
Yeah, I don't think I just realized we're halfway into this and people are like, what are they talking about?
That's a very good idea.
Yeah.
That is a very, very good idea. So, all right. So a pusher fan, everybody thinks airboat, but it's a mini version of that.
Like a two-piston version?
It's got like a huge 250 to 750 horsepower motor. It's like a jet engine, right?
Sure.
Where a pusher fan is kind of like a mud motor engine or a lawnmower engine with a mini prop on there. These huge airboats are like, I don't know, 8 to 10 feet wide, right? They're humongous, right? Where these, 6 to 8 feet wide, maybe more accurate. Where the pusher fan, it's like a 26-inch diameter, right? So it acts as a trolling motor where the airboats like drive on land. You're not going to do that with the pusher fan, right? But you don't have a prop in the water. Nowhere near as loud. And that's everything when it comes to being polite to people who live on the water. You don't want to be too loud, right? And it's also helpful without the prop being in the water because when you're fishing for snakeheads and it's shallow, those trolling motors and those kicker rigs are going to dig down into the flat. You'll still be able to fish, but you're going to chug, dig. And then where I'm just zigzagging and coasting because I'm over top of the mud flat. I'm still floating. I'm buoyant, right? I'm not dragging ass. Oh, there's the other check mark, press box. And then you can, I mean, it's unbelievable when you're like, say, not so much when you're running a trap line on a snake end of a marsh. When you're coasting around on a flat, you zigzag it, right? The other guys can still get in on some snakes, but they've got to burn their motor up and they got to make it work and they got to get there, dig, dig, dig. Where I'm just like coast, smack, coast, smack. Now, another thing is in the summertime, the pusher fan's amazing because once again, I don't have a prop in the water, right? These grass flats with the 8 feet, 5 feet of hydrilla and just 2 feet of water, the carpet, your motors can't breathe in there. I go right above.
Yeah.
Now, those snakeheads have the best look on their face when we come up on them because they're like, wait a minute. And I'm like, get him, Greg. And then he shoots a foot over, and I'm like, crap. So that's conservation again.
For sure. I was that guy. I'm not gonna lie. I was that guy, the first one. So just shot over him. Yeah, that was like a foot over him.
No, man, I tell you, man, it's one of those things where you've got the beef for vendetta coming up, and you're gonna smack them tomorrow night. Oh, it's gonna be a blast. And you're going with Cecil Kitchen fishing. And let me tell you, he's one of the captains in Ramrod. We all got different names for our boats and stuff. And he's been on fire with the snakes. I'm so excited. It's raining a little bit today. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. But yeah, man, it'll be some action tomorrow night. There's a bunch of catfish out there too. Oh yeah. See, I'm starting to ramble on about something else now. Here we go.
So if anybody's going down to the show this weekend, you got a booth number or?
Yeah. So we're at booth number 268, I believe. We're in the tent. It's the shape of a T. We're in the back left part of the T. It's a capital T. The boat's right in between the main hall and the tent. And you can always go and check that out. That's awesome. I've got the books open. People did amazing with showing up and getting things going with the books. I filled up tomorrow. I'm going to open up for the books for all the social media and stuff and all of the phone calls because not everybody can make it to the show, and that's fine. But if you can, it's right across from the Kings Dominion Amusement Park. It's at the Meadow Event Park in Doswell, Virginia. The Virginia Outdoor Sportsman Show. And let me tell you, Annette does an amazing job when she's been taking over with this show for the last few years. Whether it's obstacles thrown in front of her, she does not take no for an answer and keeps the show going. I love her to death. She is amazing. She's amazing at what she does. And if I can plug her and kiss up, I definitely will. Here we go. Now,
absolutely.
How big is the show? How many vendors do you think are there?
Oh man, we got 2 main halls filled up. It was at the racetrack for a longer time. I think they're going to have another location next year. There's a good handful from fishing to hunting to outdoor, anything, camping, living, lifestyle, passion. It is just unbelievable with it. There's a lot of the big names in the state and in the area to come out and just talk and learn from the experts and whatnot, seminars. They have that big buck award deal, a tournament, these timber goats. Everybody's nuts about these timber goats. I tell you, there's something about them antlers, but it's all good too.
So it's definitely worth making a drive if it's a little bit of a drive for these people to go down there because it's something worthwhile.
Well, if nothing else, they got to come see him.
Hey, let me tell you, these expo parts are awesome because it gives people an opportunity to get the product that they're thinking about trying in their hands, and they can see what's going on with it. Like people want to come down and try out a Vader bow, which there's been a bunch today that have seen all the viralness on Facebook, and they're like, I got to get this in my hand.
Yeah.
And then they have that opportunity to come down and get the new Carbon Saber in their hand. Unbelievable.
Yeah. And I can tell you, I'm a bow guy, and those are probably that was probably one of the best shooting bows that I've ever shot in my life. And it's an awesome bow, but unfortunately, we are coming up on the end of our time, Travis. We got about another 45 seconds or so. But how can they reach out to you? What's your Instagram? What's your social media stuff?
TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube. The YouTube, we're going to get a team going. We're going to do a bunch of filming for. I'm excited about the piece about that. Ramrod bow fishing. All right. You can always text me directly is the best way to inquire about information on booking. 703-209-9989. I don't know if I'm allowed to throw that out there.
That's fine.
It's absolutely. No, it's completely fine. We'll also try to figure out how to put it in the comments so people can find it here. So.
Yeah. You know, and it's just one of those things where you say, dude, oh, man. Hey, dude, say hi to the Hunting Quest podcast. What's happening? This is the grandfather of bow fishing on the river. You killed it. Love you, Pete. Thank you so much, man.
Right.
Yeah, man. We'll definitely get in on some action, man. I can't wait. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm sorry if I was so jangling on a lot of stuff and rambling on.
No, it's all good, my friend. It's all good. We're so glad that you were able to join us, and we look forward to going out with you and doing some more stuff for sure. And
hold on, we got 10 more coming up. Hey, Peyton, say hello to the Hunting Quest podcast. Oh yeah, we're live action right now. It is one of the baddest shoot callers and duck callers and guides in the state right here. Peyton Moore. Here we go. Love you, brother, man. Come on, man. I'm sorry, guys. They all just keep on pouring out of the expo hall.
It's all good. It's all good, my friend. All right, but thanks again, and we appreciate your time as always. We'll see you for sure. And I'll be bow hunting on Saturday with Cecil, and then Sunday we'll try to make a stop by the Sportsman Show and see how everything's going there. So again, anything else you'd like to leave folks with, or anything that you want to put out there?
I'd love for anybody out there to come on out and shoot their shot with ramrod bow fishing or a buddy or anybody, and see what they think about bow fishing firsthand. And I promise you, it'll be one of the most memorable nights of fun in your life.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you. We appreciate it, and I can attest to it. So we'll catch you.
Appreciate having you on.
Yeah, man. We'll catch you a little bit later.
Awesome, guys. Thank you very much, man. Take care.
Anytime.
Bye.
Ramrod out.
All right, so that's going to wrap us up for today. Thanks for listening. Like what we say, take some kids fishing outdoors, stuff like that. If you have any comments, questions, anything like that, leave it down in the comments. You know how to reach out to us. And thanks for listening.
Oh, yeah. So,
yeah.
Before we go, we got our producer, Anna, there has told us that we need to continue to plug the we have we're giving away a Victory St. Croix Victory Rod, right? As soon as we hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, we're gonna take those 100 folks that are registered or listed on YouTube, and we're gonna pick from one of those names. It'll be a random drawing. It's an opportunity, 1 in 100 chance to get a $200+ reel. So, and then the other one that we've got is we're still trying to get some folks to. It's a free tackle frog, $16, right? Free, $13.99. My bad.
Not cheap.
Not cheap is the way it goes. So,
if you send us a picture,
just send us a picture.
Hey, listen, before it was about a frog with a paddle. I don't care. Just some frog pictures. We'll give a couple out. I don't know. Obviously, if we get 100, we're not going to give 100 out.
Right now,
we'll get the first couple that we get.
Yeah, we'll probably do the first 5.
Just, be proactive. Get some pictures out here and send us some.
We love video, but pictures work too. Yeah, whatever's easiest. Just get out there and go fish. Get us some some pictures of these frogs that you're using in fishing. All right. I think that covers everything, right? All right. Yeah, Anna's giving us the thumbs up, and like Mark said, take somebody fishing, and we appreciate y'all. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Hunting Quest. No matter how crazy, high-tech, or lazy the rest of the country gets, we will always be hunting and fishing. If that's you, you've found your new family. Thanks to our sponsor, Davis Guns and Gear. Thanks for listening to the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. Reach out to us by email at info@thehuntingquest.com. And check us out on Instagram and YouTube at The Hunting Quest. See you next time.